welcome back to Two Kims, One Pod. We are your hosts, Peter Kim.
And Unji Kim.
And welcome back to our show. Let's dive right in. We are, thanks again for listening and thank you for joining us for the first time. If you are, we are going to be live on the road. Two Kims and Friends. I'm so excited we get to announce this part of the tour. Now, if you are in these cities, in these three cities, get excited because we're coming to your town of Pittsburgh, Philly, and Boston. Okay? The dates are being set around beginning of August. We're going to set up our legs of the tour. Excuse me, but we are definitely coming to your town's city winery early August. So mark it off in your calendars. 1 through 7, the first week, we will be in your city.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go out of town. And stay and watch this space because we're going to be announcing our ticket links, all of that stuff very soon. But we're so excited to be. Unji and I, our favorite thing to do is perform live and connect with our fans and the listeners. So the fact that like we get to go do our show live, we're so excited. What's the most exciting thing for you, Unji, for going to these towns? You're like, I don't want to go.
Pittsburgh is tough.
I don't want to go to Pittsburgh. I hear Pittsburgh is beautiful and there's a lot of bridges.
Yes, there's like 1,000 bridges or something. I was just there. It is
you were just there?
Yeah, I was there for a wedding. Okay. It was lovely, wonderful. Mm-hmm. I had a great time. It's just interesting because, you know, all of the East Coast is such a specific feel. Mm-hmm. Like the people there are very, like each enclave has a very individual kind of flavor and taste. The people there outside of the nightlife or whatever, but it's very interesting. I love the East Coast. Those are my people.
Yeah, it's an aggressive kind of like ajumma feel. Like it's like it's a little rude. Mm-hmm. It's a little upfront and blunt, but no mincing of words.
Everyone's got an opinion. Yes. They're not afraid to tell you about.
They are not. And please, when you come to our show, keep your opinions to yourself. But afterwards, you could tell us whatever you want. Like the meet and greet will be lovely. So Pittsburgh, Philly, and I'm excited for Philly. I haven't been there since I went to college touring. Remember we used to do college tours?
No, I never went on a tour.
You never visited a college?
No, never went on visited a college.
You knew. You were like, I'm not leaving town.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know that was a thing. I just thought that was for, you know, white parents girls? People whose parents had been to college and understood. Yeah.
Because I feel like immigrant parents didn't do the college tour thing.
No, the pictures in the catalog are enough. Do you like it? Yeah.
Yeah. Does it look pretty? Do you see yourself represented in this campus?
Also, like an ajumma at some place has a kid that went there. They either liked it or they didn't. And that's like the only information I had about culture. Campus
My mom
culture.
didn't care about where I wanted to go. She was like, just ace your SATs and you'll have a choice of wherever you want to go. And I don't care where you go as long as you pay for it. That was...
Here's the FAFSA forms. You figure it out.
What is a Pell Grant? You tell me. Still don't know, but I think I'm paying it back.
I just got like trauma just like hearing that. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And then Boston, I'm excited because I haven't been to Boston since pre-Panny, and I did comedy out in Boston, stand up, and Boston's a great comedy town.
Yes.
They are smart. They are fast. They are with it. And you could be a little offensive.
Truly.
In Boston, you can be a little offensive. There's not a lot of like PC, like shying away, you know. Like, and for comedians, that's hot because we could poke. We could poke. Because I live in LA where like everything is too precious. So like, you can't be offensive. Because I mean, you can, but people just be like, you know, like pout. But I think in like the East Coast cities, they want you to poke. You know what I mean? Because they poke back.
What you got to poke about? I'm gonna poke you right back.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Boston.
I've been Boston, baby.
I've been to Boston a lot. I love Boston. But did I ever tell you like the most racist thing? The most I've ever been racisted on is Boston.
You got racisted in Boston?
I got racisted in a
Tell
way
me
that
about
was
the racisted.
I got racisted in a way that was like I felt like in a movie. I was just like I was actually impressed. I was like, oh wow!
The audience was about to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was just, I've been there a lot. A lot of my friends obviously went to colleges, and they
lots of colleges in Boston.
Yeah, they went to a lot of colleges
in general, a lot of universities
in Boston. You know, I have a friend that went to college in Boston, which is code for Harvard. You know, you need these fuckers that are like, oh, where'd you go to college? I went to college in Boston. Okay, just say Harvard then.
Fuck
Shut
you.
up. Yeah.
Okay. We know you're not talking about BU, bitch.
Yeah.
Because you would have said BU.
BU, yeah. We know you didn't go to Boston College. We know you didn't, like, come
MIT.
on. Yeah. Because people from MIT say they went to MIT.
Hello? Why wouldn't you? You studied hard. But Harvard, people are a little ashamed of it, right?
Because they're like, oh, I went to college in Boston. I was like, yeah, I know a lot of people that went to Harvard. I know you're that smart. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
I know that you worked hard or whatever, but I had a couple of friends that went to Harvard and MIT, so I've been there when I was in college and out of college, when I quit. And so I was just kind of doing a tour.
College quit you.
Yeah. And then
Don't get it twisted.
And then I did a tour. And then I did a tour of my friends in college while I was out of college. Like,
nice.
Took the Greyhound all over this country of ours, and that's when I did my actual college tours.
And that's what we're going to be doing in just a couple of months. Early August, we will be doing East Coast tours. So you guys, please stay tuned, and we'll be in your city soon.
It's exciting.
All right, I gotta tell you about. Talking about shows, I'm still in Vancouver right now. Mm-hmm. As you can see, those of you who are watching the video stuff, I'm in my hotel room, and this lady who is assigned to my floor, I guess, because I always see the same lady.
Okay, what do you mean assigned?
Cleaning okay. Lady, maintenance, whatever, housekeeping, and she, without fail, ask me every morning when I leave, do you need service today?
Yeah.
And I go, no, I'm good. And I always put the do not disturb.
Yeah, me too.
Thing because I don't need you in my space. I don't need new towels every day. You gave me 6 towels. I'm not taking that many baths. Leave it alone. And the thing is she knows I don't want it. And she asks every single day, do you need service today? I'm like, no, thank you. You sure? No towel? I'm like, no. And then now it's getting to a point where it feels like she's judging me. So it's because it's been the
like your nasty ass just wiping your butt with the same towel.
There's a lot of towels in here. I don't need that many. And here's what, it's a suite with a kitchenette and stuff. And I'm cooking my own food.
Sure.
And blah, blah, and I have all my stuff around and I'm smoking weed in the room. They said don't smoke, but I'm smoking weed in the room. So I don't want you in my fucking space, lady.
I know you should narc on me. Yeah.
Yeah, girl. And now I'm getting paranoid. Why do you keep asking every fucking day when I have the thing and I tell you no every day? And now when you ask me day 5, it's like, you sure you don't need? It's like, you're saying I'm fucking nasty. You're telling me I smell. I don't need to be judged by this lady like this. And if it was a different lady every day, I'd be okay with it because they don't know.
Sure.
It's a new lady.
Yeah.
But this lady is assigned floor 5. This is her floor. So she's always here. I'm getting so sick of it. And I'm like, there's another thing. When I checked in, it said, if you deny turnover service, we will plant 10 trees. Yeah. So here I am planting 50, 60 trees for you. Let me reforestation the world. Why you keep asking, girl? I'll let you know. The thing will be off the door, honey. Trust. And
is there any regulation on that sort of claim? I've seen that a lot. A lot of
10
every
trees.
time, 10 trees, and every time you don't like send the towels out for service or whatever. They say like how many gallons of water you save, and it's like a big
That's
trend
what I'm
now.
doing. I'm hoarding all my dirty ass shit towels on the floor like it's a mountain, a heap of crusty towels. You will take it all in one day. And I'm sure they hate that. Yeah. I'm sure they hate coming in and seeing a fucking mountain of nasty towels that they have to move now or whatever, you know? Sure. So like, I get it, but like we're all doing this for Mother Earth.
We're all doing what we can. And she's
little by little every day. And you're trying to take me down. Exactly. And I don't need it. And everyone's Asian here. So it all feels like my mom. You know, I talked about this in Honolulu. I guess that's a West Coast thing, but like, it's so amazing to be working. Like I'm actually at work right now. Like I'm working in a predominantly Asian city.
Yeah.
It happened in Honolulu and it happened in Vancouver. I'm like, how do I make this like the norm? You know, like how do I just not ever not be anywhere else? Because this is so nice to be in. Like, okay, so I did comedy here. How's your comedy been going this week, by the way? Because you've been going out a lot. I've been seeing you posting.
I've been doing okay. I've been doing what I can.
Okay.
I mean, I will say
Where are you at with your set?
So what I've been doing lately is I've been trying to go out less but do as many shows. So I've been doubling up. So I'm still going out. I'm going out less, doing as many shows. So I'm doubling up on the 2 nights I go out. Like I'll do 2 shows each of those.
Great. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it also means that one will always go bad. Like if like that's just the way that
or one will always be better than the other.
Yes, but I mean the way I experience it is one is bad. Like it's actually bad. Like I was like I wish one was okay, but no, they're like one is just bad and one is really good. But in terms of my actual set, because I've been doing clubs and I've been doing weekends, it's harder for me to work new material in. Or I'm doing larger rooms during the week. And so
interesting.
It's harder for me to work in new material. I've been getting in like a couple like one-liners, things like that, but no chunks that I've been working on. And I felt that, so I'm going to try to do a mic, which I don't typically do, but like a different kind of. I'm just going to try
5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, so that I can just like work on chunks as opposed to just like little, you know, because there's like a difference to being able to work a chunk than just one joke, a one-liner that you know punctuates or tags a thing that you already have. So working on new premises and stuff. So yeah, it's been interesting. I've been working on sort of like 2 threads about 2 very different things, and yeah, it's been interesting me trying to tie it all together, because one is like it requires me to do a long set. I can't work the context and this larger concept in unless I have more than 20 minutes. The other one is a chunk. Whoa. Yeah. And the other one is a chunk that is specifically about my child and being a parent. And that requires a little bit of time. But that's a chunk versus like the larger set, kind of tying it all together thing. So that's where I am with my set right now. I have a set that's been doing pretty well. You can put me up for 10 minutes and I'm doing the job. Okay. But if you needed me to do 20, I'd be doing old material. That's where I am with it.
And what does old mean?
Like
when does it actually become old?
For me, it's anything I've put up on social media.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's interesting. I
like anything in the last year,
because I've been which is a year. That's a lot to like put up, and then you have to write. You have to
write so much. That's what I mean, you guys. People, like this content machine is fucking merciless.
That's not how like comedy used to work.
People used to work the
same hour.
Yes, for years,
for like 10 years, and then you get a special, and then you have to retire it. Now it's like boring, whatever.
Yeah,
so,
like within 8 months you're churning through material.
That, right, is because I have been. I guess this is like the other way to look at it, but I have not been writing new material. I have been, but
you just did, yeah.
I don't feel great.
What do you mean?
I don't feel great about the material. Like every time I like make a point or like isn't this stupid or isn't this funny or something? I'm like, as I say it out of my mouth, I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care about this. Like, and like stuff I actually care about, I don't care to make jokes about it. So I'm like in a weird place right now as far as like writing material. So I've been doing mostly crowd work on, and we've talked about this a couple of episodes ago about like how comics are putting up crowd work clips and how that's like changing the landscape of comedy, you know? And so tell me why Vancouver, that I'm staying downtown, like right in the heart of it, and I can't find a goddamn comedy club anywhere. Like, where are your comedy clubs, Vancouver? There are no clubs. So what happened was, apparently during the pandemic, all of the comedy shut down, like everywhere else. Mm-hmm. But in Vancouver, whoever owned the like centralized apparently there were two major ones downtown.
Yuck
and that
yucks.
Was like the yuck yucks, and literally that's like a thing that comics say, like, oh, I'm performing at the yuck yucks or the
but there really is a yuck yucks up there. Yeah,
there was a yuck yucks and like a comedy mix or something like that, were the two major hubs. And this used to be like a node for like touring comedians where they would like hit this and then hit Edmonton or whatever, and then they would come down to Seattle, whatever. But they closed because of the pandemic, and apparently those owners weren't able to open them back up.
Wow.
So all of comedy drained out of Vancouver, club, like institution comedy, you know, and the closest one is in this neighborhood called New Westminster, in which I had to take a public transportation train out for 40 minutes.
40 minutes? That's a suburb.
It is a suburb. It's not even in Vancouver. Yeah, it's like going from like Manhattan to Flushing just to do comedy. I was like, what is happening? No, that's like going up from
Manhattan to Staten Island.
No, it takes longer to Staten Island.
Oh my God.
I guess from where in Manhattan?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, it's like a commute from like, I don't know, Chicago to Niles or something, you know, like via
Evanston.
bus, where it's like stopping every stop, you know, so it's like I'm commuting with these people and we have to go through like towns and towns to get here. It's not like the next town, you know, like it was like multiple towns to get to this thing. I get out and it's called a House of Comedy, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy BC.
Before comedy?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Rick Bronson. Okay.
Who is Rick Bronson?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I think it's like
Richard
Canada's
Branson.
Finest or something. Yeah, it's one of those. Maybe he's related to the billionaire. But I get out there and it's this giant, like 300-seat refurbished theater.
Okay.
And
300-seater. Wow.
But they took all the seats out and put like kind of like cabaret cocktail tables or whatever. So like you can serve like bar food and drinks and whatever. And I go out there to do 5 minutes of comedy.
You traveled 40 minutes to do 5?
No, I traveled 80 minutes round trip to do 5 minutes of comedy because I was guesting. I was doing a guest spot.
5 minutes of material you're not excited about.
So I did crowd work. To do 5 minutes of crowd work.
To feel connected with strangers in this huge...
in Canada, you know? So like, I go out there to do 5 minutes. I felt really great about it just because like, listen, if I was working on set every day on this movie... Yeah. There's no way I would have gone out there. But I have so much time off that like I actually need to kill some time commuting, you know? So like I got out there and It was great. You know, there was a host, feature, headliner, classics setup.
Sure.
And I did 5 minutes before the feature, and it was really fun. And then I traveled all the way back. So
did you see that? Did you get to watch
that's
the headliner?
Major club. No, I had to leave because I was like, the last train's in 10 minutes. Like, I gotta go. It was eerie. It was very eerie. And I actually asked the audience, like, what the fuck is up? Why are we in this dilapidated, like, apocalypse theater or whatever?
Yeah.
And they were like, this one woman was like, all the clubs closed. This is the closest place, blah, blah. And so the fact that these people came out to see comedy there means like these were the people who really wanted to see comedy.
I mean, like, really, that is like the thing. You know, we announced our tour. Like, this, like the fact that people are still looking for the same sort of connection and want to laugh and watch comedy. God, you guys are the thing.
I love you guys.
You guys are truly the thing.
You.
Because I know for me, myself, personally, because I do it, I would not travel. I would not want to go. I would not go see comedy unless I was doing comedy.
What would you go see? What would you travel to go see?
A movie.
A movie? You travel to go see a movie?
No, I would travel to see. You know what? I would go
like
somewhere.
Like a foreign film, like a limited foreign film or something like that. Like, this German
why am I even lying to? Why am I lying to myself? No, I would not do any of this. I know. I'm lying to myself. The only thing I can imagine myself traveling to see,
like a musical, maybe.
I don't. A play?
Oh, a play. I don't know. Maybe a musician.
Yeah, I would travel to see a musician.
Like if my favorite musician was like not playing in my city, but like 2 hours away.
Yeah,
I would do that. Like if Beyonce wasn't playing LA and only playing Orange County for some reason, I would go see that. I would travel to see her.
Yeah, I guess. I guess
we don't have that. We're not like. We also live in the center, so like, where would we go? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't live in the suburbs, so there's nowhere to travel to see culture. Our culture is in our backyard, so it's a dumb question for us, I guess. But who would you travel for? Yeah, an artist or like.
I think I'm just too old for this.
What?
I think I'm just too old to be like a fan like that, to like really inconvenience myself unless I was performing.
Well, let me tell you who inconvenienced themselves to come watch someone is, I told you I'm doing this movie with Zarna Garg.
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys don't know, just Google her. Like, she's everywhere.
She's incredible, yeah.
Yeah, and she is like capitalist Indian mom, like, let's make money and stop wasting time, get an engineering degree, blah blah. You know, like, she's really leaning into that.
Yes.
And she was like, hey, will you open for me because she's trying out her new hour. She has an hour on Amazon and she's trying out her new hour and she's never done it fully yet. So she wanted to like set up a show in Vancouver while we're shooting this movie.
This bitch is working.
I have never seen someone hustle like this ever in my life. She like snapped her fingers, tweeted or whatever, TikToked, and 120 people showed up.
Wow.
And like packed this, like it's like a pipe and drape situation comedy space. Like
pipe and drapes,
like very Chicago DIY comedy space.
Okay, pipe and drapes.
Kind of like yeah, exactly. Like we just set the stage up and like it's tiny and like here we go. You know, and it was very like it felt Chicago-y.
DIY,
and it was DIY, like black box theater storefront. So the great thing was it was all concrete walls. So the laughs were like bouncing. Oh my God, did it feel good? Like I felt physically turned on.
Wait, how much time did you do?
12 minutes.
Did you do?
She did an hour.
How much material versus crowd work did you do?
Almost no material.
Peter.
Almost no material. I went up there. I wrote one new joke about how Canadian men are how I like polite men, except when it comes to sex, and it's Canadian men's are a turn off when they have sex, because they would pull my hair and spank my ass and say sorry. That's the only new joke I wrote, because I was like, I'm in Vancouver, I have to write that. I have to write something, and then I just went into mostly crowd work, and it was really fun. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that like it's really liberating not to have to write.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. It feels so good.
Yeah, I bet.
And the fact that like I have stuff written that I could always like
lean on,
like fall back on.
Yeah.
So like it's almost like less pressure because I'm just going to play. And you know, I told you a couple of weeks ago how I've been shifting my my perspective on stand-up. Like how I used to really be like competitive with the audience and about how I needed to like crush.
Sure.
And I needed to like crack them, you know?
Yeah. Into a fine powder. Yeah. Crush.
Exactly. And then snort it up with a dollar bill rolled up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like,
yeah.
But after pandemic and staying out of comedy for a little bit, like writing mostly, and then coming back now, you know, like, and we're doing this tour and setting up this tour, I'm really starting to approach it with more fun. And I think what's allowing me to have more fun is the non-writing of it. Because the non-writing of it lets me go up there without the barometer of pass-fail.
Right.
Like, will this joke work or not? Or is this set good or not? It's not about that. It's more like I'm forcing the being present.
Sure.
By exercising crowd work and then falling back on my stuff. Now, is this sustainable?
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not for like if you wanted a special or something like that. You know,
for
like
sure.
no one's gonna buy a special without written jokes. But as a like,
I mean, you can put it up on YouTube. There are several crowdwork specials.
Yeah. And you know, the way Todd Barry has crafted his career, like
incredible.
I would love that.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to just be known to work the crowd and still give them a like $25 to $60 price tag of a show.
Yeah. I
think that's my dream. Because like I have trouble. It's almost like I get like 창피해 or like embarrassed about my written jokes now. It's almost like embarrassing. So like for me, not for anyone else, but like I find myself embarrassing by like, you know. So like unless, and I'm sure this will also change as I work on my, you know, myself and my writing, and it becomes something I want to curate. But right now I feel really good in this like middle space of like recalibrating to the performance of like, I'm having fun with you. Like we're in this moment together. And also while I was doing both shows out here, I could not, I kept noticing how much people were talking.
It's crazy.
It's
and if you tell them to shut up, they do not like it. They think it's a part of the experience.
Yes. So stand-up's changing.
Yes.
You know, if it's like this in Canada, I bet it's like everywhere.
Wild.
Yeah. So, and Canada is like polite of the polite.
Yes.
So like in America, this has got to be like worse. But I'm here to say, like, if you're coming out to our shows and you're like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got to tell you this last thing before we go. If you're like interrupting or whatever, like having fun with us, we're not going to scream at you. We're, at least not. Yeah, Lindsay might. She might be screaming at you.
Please let me say this carefully crafted
joke.
Please.
Just shut the fuck up during Unji's set, okay? During her 2025, like just check your email.
I will ask you directly if I want crowd work, I will ask you directly. Or I will remark upon something you're wearing. Like, please let me say the thing. I've sweat through so many bombs to create. So many rooms of
during
complete
her
silence.
We don't want any pop talk. But during mine, feel free, whatever. Like I'm in this place where I'm like, whatever, nothing matters. Also, because of that fact that like, I think people are watching clips and really inviting themselves
because they want to be a part of the show.
To be part of the show.
Yeah.
So much so that suburb show I did, the 5 minutes I did.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
I had to close the 5, right? So I was like, okay, I was going into my closer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like setting it up, and all of a sudden, these guys, they're all wearing like flat brim hats, like very straight and like dude.
Bro. Yeah.
Bro vibes, right?
Sure.
Like super like muscly and like, you know.
Proteins.
And,
they're drinking proteins. They're counting macros. They know.
They're yoked.
Yeah.
And they, I'm going into, I finished the setup and I'm like taking a breath, going into the punchline. And this guy yells out, "Bobby Mudda! Bobby Mudda!" And everyone's laughing. Even people who don't know the reference are laughing because it just sounds crazy. And I go, stop. And every 9 out of 10 times, this would have enraged me.
Sure.
Because it's my clothes. I'm like almost done, bro. Like, come on. Let me just finish and get the fuck out of here. But it just cracked me up so hard. Because, like, if you guys don't know what it is, it's a reference from the podcast Bad Friends, in which Andrew Santino, one of the hosts, makes fun of Bobby Lee's mom and says like, "I'm Bobby Mudda," you know, like in this like cross-eyed, like crazy racist way. And
Santino always gets away with for some reason.
Yeah, it's because Bobby allows it.
Yes.
And that has become like a meme, you know, in itself. And white men are screaming that at each other because they're allowed to, because this other white man did it and this Asian man laughed along. So like it's like carte blanche being super racist to Asians, which like they don't even get that they're doing it or whatever. No. It's like so replicated that it's become diluted into like a little, like a sound bite or whatever.
It's just a funny sound. It's a funny phrase.
It's a funny sound. He could be saying, you know, like it doesn't matter. So he says it and I go, wait, what did you say? And he gets super shy, right?
After he screams it? During your punchline. Okay.
Yeah, during my closer. Because he knew it was my closer because I brought the stand over, put the mic into the thing and said, I'll leave you with this.
Yeah.
Here's one last thing. So he knows it's the closer. So he screams like, "My mother." And I was like, wait, hold on. What did you say? And he's like, nothing. And I was like, no, say it again. He's like, no, hell no. And I was like, no, I'm taping this right now. Don't you want to be in it? You want to be in my tape, don't you? Like, just say it one more time so I could like put it in quotes. He was like, hell no, man. I'm like, they're not even going to say your face. I can't even cancel you. Like, they're not going to be able to track you down. Come on, just say it. He was like, no, hell no. I'm not saying it. His friends are like, ooh, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And he goes, you say it. I'm like, oh, you want me to say it? And he's like, yeah, say it. And I was like, no, I don't think I'll say it. And he's like, oh, man. And I go, you want me to say Bobby Mudda? You know? And he was like, he said it. And they start screaming and everyone's like cheering like, he said it. And I was like, you know what? That's the biggest laugh I'm going to get. So I'll see you guys. Bye. And I texted Bobby. I'm like, you know, this happened during my closer. Yeah. And like, I think it's going to happen more and more now because I look like you. Yeah. And so this is my cross to bear. But there's, for some reason, I think it's because I'm trying to like practice this new approach to the stand-up that like It's not making me angry for some reason. And I this could be very dangerous because this could be like a open...
I just want, yes. Pandora. This is Pandora. This is Pandora Mudda. Pandora Mudda!
Pandora Mudda!
Like, brother.
But
I mean,
I don't
for
know.
that
I'm like turning around and like going with the wave because it's like I don't know if anything I can do to mitigate because they're so huge. Bobby and Tino are so huge that like this is like the trickle down effect of their fame. So like
yeah,
I don't know how to mitigate something like that. Like there's no way for me to. It's not even in America that happened. It happened in a different country. So it's like I have to be ready for this at all times. You will never get that because you don't look like Bobby.
No, I do
so
look like a Mudda. I do look like a Mudda.
You do look like a Mudda. Maybe I should be Bobby and you should be Mudda. And then we should
That's the name of the new tour? Yeah.
Bobby Mudda. Wait, that would sell out so fast. The Bobby Mudda tour.
Is this a picture of Bobby? So is this a picture of Bobby Lee with your name under it? And then
yes.
I mean,
and then you carrying both of your kids. Like,
yes, I mean, truly, like, okay.
That is so funny. We could open it with that story too, you know, and then
yes.
But the funny thing is, I feel like our fans, there's not a Venn diagram.
No.
With that podcast and our podcast, it's like so separate in these outside worlds. You and I are actually the middle of those two.
Just the two of us. Yeah. I mean, okay. You're right. The stand up as a culture and as a live experience is definitely changing. It is very much like your crowd work stuff. But the thing is, Peter, you always did a ton of crowd work. Like you like it.
I love it. But
yeah.
What's different is that I always felt the pressure to not do it. You
had a show at Second City that was just crowd work.
I know, but that was like specifically that, you know.
Yeah.
But like in general, if someone's like, "Hey, can you come do a set?" Like,
right.
I feel bad doing crowd work. I feel like I should give them my 10-minute set.
For sure. You know?
But I don't feel
at least
that
in Chicago,
anymore.
that is an expectation. Yeah.
Right. Like I don't feel that anymore. I'm like, whatever. You're giving me 10 minutes. I'm gonna play for 10 minutes, and that feels really good. And and again, personally for me, because I wasn't bringing that sense of play into my scripted work. Mm-hmm. I was more like, I better get ace this set, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is very much my thinking. I
get you. That's what I'm saying.
I
understand you.
You know, I like tight, word specific, tight. Mm-hmm. Sets. That's where I start off very loose and I'm bombing because I'm not even doing crowd work at that point. I'm just like, let me try out this phrasing. Let me try out this phrasing, and just people don't like it. So I'm just bombing. I'm sweating up there.
Yeah.
So when I get to the joke's final form, I am locked in. Sometimes I'll find something new up there if I'm loose enough, but I am not. I'm present, but I am still like. I'm like acting like that. It's much more like that acting as opposed to a live sort of dialogue, which is what crowd work requires. But I think you're right. Like stand up itself is changing where if you watch a headliner, almost all of them will do crowd work for like the last 15 minutes. Like that's kind of where all those crowd work clips are coming in. But that's the reason why like there's an expectation now from audiences where that happens. They want that. Right. The rest of the jokes, that's fine, but they want that live. Mm-hmm. We can only experience it right now, right here, today, sort of experience.
Yeah.
People used to like experience that with improv.
Exactly.
Right? People used to do that, but no one wants to watch that anymore. So they just would rather, because there's also this point of view where it's like they get to be a part of the show.
Right.
They want to be involved.
That's the thing. And that's usually a comic's nightmare.
Yes, because everyone so many people that love comedy are also the funniest friend in a group.
In their office.
Yes.
In their fantasy football league or whatever.
They're like the one that pops off in the chat. Like they're the funniest person.
And I guarantee you, if you were in like Sam Morrill's crowd work video and you were in the audience and they like showed the audience member, being picked on or whatever, guarantee you that guy, Greg, is going into the office showing everyone like, look at this video. It got 300,000 views and I'm this idiot. Everyone's like, yeah, you are funny. That's what's happening. And so people are more, the fabric is changing. And the reason why people maybe go out are changing, post panty.
Yes.
It's less like I sit here, you make me laugh. It's like, oh, I'm paying $60. I'm getting drunk and like fucking around tonight.
Yeah, I want to yell about like what I do for a living.
Yeah, exactly. And how long I've been with this person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like I mean, that's like part of it for me is just that is because that also becomes a script, right? Even the crowd work and all that stuff is like there's this prescribed recipe that you follow versus with your own material, which can be very much from your own experience and point of view. But I think I told it on the pod before, but like it was funny because I actually was heckled in a crazy way and I was going to do another set, so I really needed to get through this 8 minutes.
Okay.
And I was really working on some new material, so I was also having trouble remembering it. So it was like all new set. This is before I have the set I have now. I was getting to it, so I needed some. When you're working on new material, like you can't remember. I don't remember the order of stuff. I never remember the wording of things. I think I got to get on sort of meditation.
Did you have your notebook up there? Or
I did, but like you don't want to look at it too much, So I was I was working through it, and then these girls just kept talking, like in an affirmative way, but they're talking to each other and yelling. So they weren't just talking to each other. They were also being like, yes, girl. No, I'm a Gemini. Like, whatever. Like, bitch, shut up. And I finally was like, I can hear you. Like, I am very close to you. This is not a big space. Like, I'm,
right.
I'm not, this is not where I want to be in my career, and I am very close to you. Like the stage is not far away enough from you, and like I can hear you breathing. I can hear every single thing you're whispering to each other. And she really got. I got like a little. Like, can you just quiet down? Like I wasn't pissed, but I was just like, I know you're having fun, girls. Like blah blah blah, but just shut up. And but they kept going, and I got really frazzled because I didn't know where I was in my set. And then I just kept telling them to stop talking because they wouldn't stop at a certain point. And they thought they were helping me. Woof. So I get off stage, and then later I go off, and like the headliner was like, what happened? I was like, these girls will not stop talking. And then later that show posted on their Instagram, listen, you have to stop. If you come to the show, you cannot heckle. This is not a part of the experience. And then I DM'd the producer being like, did those girls keep like, and she was like, oh no, they didn't bother any of the other comics, but I just wanted to have this out. I talked to the headliner, and she was like, no, those girls bothered every single comic and was yelled at by every single comic. Because it was not even like the comics were like trying, like even if they did engage them, they were talking through everything. So they were not helpful. And then finally the headliner was like, put them in their place. And I guess they got really pissed, and they went up to the producers and was like, you need to tell the comics that this is a part of what it is to do comedy now. And like, they just didn't handle it correctly. They should have been funnier.
Ew, bitch. Go fucking fly off a cliff. Shut the fuck up.
But that's the expectation now. That
sucks.
Interaction is built into her $20. That she should be able to yell whatever she wants to yell versus like at
there's always going to be that kind of asshole who like doesn't give a fuck like about anyone else. That's usually not the heckler experience or the people who are like chiming in. I think in my experience it's like 10% those assholes and 90% they don't even know that they like said it out loud like or whatever. They're like, yeah, whatever. And then like when then attention goes to them, they like shrink down, like it's interesting. Like those assholes who are out there to be like, well, fuck them. They weren't funny enough. Like That's you gotta. That's like a CVS building in theft into their revenue. Like that's like shoplifting. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like when you own a PacSun franchise, like that's just built into the.
Yeah, they're gonna be tweens stealing a T-shirt.
Everyone is stealing a belly ring. Everyone's stealing a belly ring. Everyone's stealing a tongue ring. Like it's just part of the game.
It's your fixed cost, baby.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks though. It really does suck. So if you're listening and you're like, "Am I that person?" Just don't. But
you're right. Like I think I do need to be a little more. I do need to be a little more flexible. And you're right, because it is becoming more of the experience. People, the comics that can figure it out, they're really crushing.
Yeah, if you don't pivot, it's gonna be tough. I think because they don't. The audience, I think, are unaware. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they're aware of what it feels like to be us. Like it. And they can't. There's no way. There's no way you could have empathy for someone who's doing something like so singular like that. Even like if you went to a musical, like a lot of people have done like high school theater or like you did a play once or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's like such a universal experience. Or like if you go to a concert, like maybe you or your sister might have taken a piano lesson once or whatever.
Sure.
Like there's some kind of connective tissue experientially where like you have like a certain amount of respect for artists, but not comedians. We get no respect. It's so true though. Yeah, we get because what we do is so singular. So unless you've done it, and if you've done it, you will never fucking talk in an audience. You won't even be at a show. I
don't even laugh.
You wouldn't be at the show.
I'm like, let's see what these let's see how it plays with these people. I mean, the only time I ever laugh at a comedy show if the comic is bombing. Like
like the uncomfortable laugh.
I'm
if
laughing.
They tried something and they didn't do it, and you're like, ah!
Nice try, fucker.
We get it. But yeah, like I see why. Like I empathize with why they don't get it, but you really should be like aware that just because it's dark and you think you're whispering, like we could all fucking hear you. Like
I mean, I also think that so much of the live comedy and comedy itself is everywhere. Like if you're going to a show, you want another experience because you can watch comedy on your screen. Like in a multitude of ways, in a multitude of like settings. Like I'm talking like you could see an open micer set to like Nate Bargatze in a fucking arena. Like you can watch all of it at any time. So if you're live, you want a more intimate,
special
personal
experience.
Yes.
And in that way, I think that's why I personally don't feel comfortable delivering like. At least the written material I have, because I'm past the material, and my material hasn't caught up to my life. So like I'm in this period where like I have.
What do you mean by that? You're saying that you're like, what am I? You've mentioned it a couple of times, and I kind of like let it go. When you're talking about like you're embarrassed and you don't know what you want to say, like what are you?
Like for example, like there's some new material I was writing about how I grew up, like what kind of child I was and how different I was. And I didn't realize that. I still don't sometimes realize that like that's a weird thing. And I'll start like giving examples about that. And that stuff I was like, okay, like that's interesting. It's more about me. It's personal, revelatory, whatever. And and it works fine. Like it was, I'm sure I could like really hone it and like sit down and write it. But like every time I go up there and do it, I'm like, okay. It's like the navel gazing of it all.
Okay.
Just feels, at least right now. And before, that's all I wanted to do was navel gaze and tell you about my stories and experiences. But I don't know why. Like, I'm just in a different place in my life where that no longer like, you know what it is? It's a similar thing to this feeling of like not wanting to be accessible. You know what I mean?
What do you mean accessible?
like, you know how I talk about like after shows, I don't want to stand out there and like meet people and
yes.
like people
I
coming
love
up
that.
to me and slapping my. I know you do. I'm very the opposite. I'm very like I like being on stage and then getting off stage and it being silence.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the clamor. I don't want the oh my god like hi blah blah. Like I don't. I think if people want that from me, I need to have like 5 minutes of that and then go away. Because I
literally have like people's phone numbers in my phone.
Yeah,
like,
I can't do that. I can't do that. I just don't want it.
I'm very accessible.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good for me. It feels draining and it feels like icky. And that's also why like I don't like post. I've like taken down a lot of my social media, especially with family and my and Eric.
Yes.
Because I some things I just don't want you to access. I don't want you to know things about me. Not because I want it to be a secret. I don't know you. You know, so I don't want you to know what my boyfriend's handle is or whatever.
Yeah.
Like and I stopped tagging people in photos because like, and a lot of people have yelled at me about that, but like, I don't care. Like, I don't want you to go to someone else's thing because I put that like, just if you're a fan of mine, you're looking at the picture and you're liking it. That's it. Like I want the interaction to be very like simple. And a lot of that has to do with just not feeling safe to be accessible to people.
This
know?
Is true. And
I feel unsafe a lot of the times when people I don't know have access to me, you know, and I don't know anything about you, you know? So I think that also is bleeding into my comedy now and into like, I used to be so personal and autobiographical and anecdotal. And that felt like really important for me as an earlier comic and a younger comic.
For sure.
But I'm kind of going away from that now because I'd rather just have fun on stage and interact and create a nice experience for however many minutes I'm allowed to be up there, as opposed to like delivering something about me and my stories. Like, it's still going to be my perspective and what I think and like how I interact with people, but like it's less about. I'm less obsessed with people knowing about my life.
Let me tell you, I 100% agree. My husband specifically has kind of pushed me towards this. He doesn't love it. Because I'm also like very autobiographical. Very personal. Like there hasn't been too much in my set that is the word accessible here. I think the implication is twofold, right? It's accessible as in like a lot of people could understand it and identify with it, and also access it as in like access,
like to be able to touch grab.
And like see and hear and ingest and like even identify with these like small moments. Like I would say we are much more accessible on here than I would say recently. I have also moved away from a lot of super personal, hyper specific material. I am kind of going more general and a little more commenting on things versus telling kind of confessional stories.
Yeah.
And now if I do tell confessional stories, they are almost always just about me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kind of get away from revealing too much.
Involving other people.
Yeah. And I think that I notice this trend among other people as well, even people that are just my friends. It's just the level of access we have to each other that is false. Because social media specifically and this persona even on stage, it is so one-dimensional. It's not a real reflection.
No.
And I think because so much of us are ingesting reality in this way, we are starting to interpret reality as one dimension. So if there's anything that requires nuance, you just don't put it up.
Yeah.
Like it's safer and better to just not have things that are going to be open.
It's just difficult to have to explain anything.
Yeah, like in a full and like nuanced way. So then just to simply not even engage in that conversation feels safer.
Yeah.
I mean, after I posted that clip, which is sort of like my bi joke, that is old and I don't really do anymore. And I took down the comments, and then instead people started DMing me like horrible things.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I mean.
That's what I mean. That kind of stuff. It's like, I don't want to be open to that. Like,
yes.
And I guess like it's unavoidable. People are going to hate no matter what you put, whether
and
it's about being
doing what we're
or
doing.
anything.
And, yes. And doing what we're doing. Like, it's just going to be a part of it. And so that's built in. I'm not upset about that, but I do get what you're saying about like making sure that your material makes you feel safe and also accurately kind of reflects where your mind is at the moment. That's hard. I hadn't thought about it like that before.
And I think because I was so personal of a comic that if it didn't work or if it did bad, like I would conflate like
you took it very personally, right?
Yeah. And like I think I'm in a space where I don't need as much of that. I don't need to be seen by everyone as much as I needed to be seen in my early 20s and 30s, you know, like I was so desperate to be seen by everyone. Like, look at me, I am a person, I have thoughts and blah, blah. And now I'm like, don't ever look at me. I want to put an avatar in front of me. I'll write a character so that it's you know, like you're reading about my thoughts through metaphor now. You know what I mean? Like I want layers between us. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just wanted to let you know, and you know, you guys know that like I'm kind of going through this like artistic change a little refocusing, if you will.
I mean, that's exciting. One, you're always really incredible at crowd work. I mean, it's like a part of like your charm. Because I mean, I've done crowd work before. No one likes it. I might always come off like I come off too angry. Everything that everything that people say like annoys me. I'm like, oh, that's the best you can do. Like, that's stupid.
Maybe stay away from the crowd work for now. Just work on the jokes.
That's stupid. Like that's the best you could think of right now. Like you're the one that wanted to talk. You raised your hand. Like, and they're like, I've made like so many white girls be like, oh.
Okay, why did I pay for this?
Yeah. Like I was like dragging this one white lady about how like she was on Witchy Talk. I was like, okay, you're like fulfilling every single stereotype anyone has about middle-aged white ladies. And she was like, oh, okay. She thought she was unique. And I was like, okay.
Thank you. She thought she was unique.
And I felt bad. And I was like,
you really wrecked her world that day. Yeah, she was not looking for that when she came to the comedy show.
When she came to Laugh Factory on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Laugh Factory. That's funny. Yeah, definitely then not looking for that.
I was like dragging her for no reason. And the thing is, I asked the question. She was just giving me.
She was just answering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it never really works out. I do have to, I guess, really a lot of my crowd work, like.
Lean into your strengths.
Yeah.
And for you guys can come see us on tour early August in Philly, Pittsburgh, and Boston. Tickets will come out in a week or so once we finalize everything. Thank you so much. And you'll see how differently we do comedy. And you get to actually... Yeah, you'll see me doing more of the crowd stuff. You'll see Eunji doing more of her scripted stuff. And you'll see that comedy is like... And you'll see all our guests, our wonderful local guests.
Yeah.
Like, comedy is so many different things, and you get to experience that not just from your car or wherever you're listening or viewing this on YouTube or whatever from, but you get to see it happen live, which is very cool. So just remember, if you're coming out, don't interact with NG, but you can talk to me.
You can talk to me. You can talk to me after the show. I'm very personable.
Yeah, she'll be selling merch. Talk to her then. Talk to her about money. All right, folks. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you. Bye.